Is now the time for you guys to step all in into crypto. Today we'll break it down for you, give you an idea of what that might look like. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into the show. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that of course is Salt Lending. This is where you can actually maybe go all in on taking loans out on your crypto. And the way you can do that is right there on Bitcoin. One of the things that people often say is, should I take loans out on my crypto? Well, one thing you can do with Salt Lending is you can protect your assets just by going in and getting activated on Salt Shield, which is the no liquidation solution. They work hand in hand with every client on how you guys go. Of course, the way I've done it is I just reduce my loan to value ratio. Keep it around 50%, you're gonna be fine. Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and it gives you a chance to unlock some of your wealth and put it back into other assets, or maybe right back into Bitcoin. So check it out. Use our link down below. Let's get into it. So today we're going to have Tim Warren jump in. And of course, you guys know Tim Warren from the Tim Warren channel. How are you?
Doing good. Doing very good. Again, baby's a couple weeks old now. You asked me off air, am I getting sleep? I'm getting decent sleep for a baby. So I really can't complain. I'm starting this week is my week. I'm kind of getting back into slowly but surely the full run of everything we do in our community. But I'm glad to be here back with you again after a couple weeks. And yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Of course, this week has been a little bit of a nuts with everything that's going on with the Fed after Friday of last week. You guys jump over and, of course, subscribe to Tim's channel. Setting right there at number, what are you at? 56.8, man. Let's get that up to 60,000. Let's move. Let's go. And I wanted to get your opinion on really the first question that we're getting asked a lot. And that is now the time to be all in? If you have a pile of cash, how far should you be into crypto with that cash? Not talking about any other assets, just you got liquid cash. Obviously not financial advice for anyone out there. You only ever invest the amount you can lose. But if you were looking at this market right now, Tim, how would you place this?
Yeah, I think like you just said, there's no way to say this is the same for every single person. Every person's risk tolerance is different. Every person's living situation is different. Some people are working with millions of dollars, some thousands, some hundreds. And you can't just give a blanket piece of advice or a number split to say, hey, stay this much in cash, this much in crypto. What I would say, going deeper than what you just said, don't invest a single dime you can't afford to lose. Do your children have tuition payments coming up? Don't invest their tuition payments. Do you have a mortgage payment coming up? Don't invest your mortgage payment. But to the best of your ability, every penny that you can get into crypto, I would say this is a time to do it. Now, there is going to be an argument, Paul, and I don't know if we're going to talk about it in this stream or maybe a future stream. We're like within that 30-day window now. I was doing the math. The 4-year cycle theorists are going to start saying we're 30 days away, maybe a little over, but maybe a little less from the all-time top or from the top of the market overall. I don't agree with that take. I'm actually going to be making a video this Saturday telling people why I don't agree with that take. However, I still think this is a good time to do it, but you want to be prepared. There is a reason to believe we could have some sort of local top in the next 30 to 60 days, similar to what we saw in January, similar to what we saw in March of 2024. That being said, though, I do still think we're early to crypto due to a lot of different factors. I encourage people to be as heavily invested as possible. But as I just finished saying, that's going to be different for every single person. So I can't say 50-50. I can't say 75-25. I can say make sure you're set up correctly for life, have the cash you need to pay your bills, and then what can you stomach potentially parting ways with? You're probably not going to have to. You're probably going to make a lot of money. Get it into crypto as fast as possible.
Well, and you look at, we did a small poll on this, and right now it's pretty much kind of agreeing with you. Is everybody's about 54% of this poll all in on crypto right now. The 50-50 range, which I think is a little bit more on the conservative position, at least for me, which is 50 cash, 50 on crypto. And that's not talking about your other assets, real estate, what other, if you own stocks, bonds, other things, precious metals, those kind of things. I'm talking about just a cash liquid, because this is such a liquid market, you can go in and out of cash so quickly. And I think that is going to be the case right now. But back to the point that you were talking about in terms of the 4-year cycle, you and I have talked about this quite a bit over the year of us doing a lot of podcasts together. And this has always been the question mark, because you're exactly right. We are nearing that window, at least in terms of the time frame. So many things have changed now. Is there one thing or another that you're thinking that will really shift your opinion on? Is this Fed rate cuts? Is it just what's happening on Wall Street or with the tech itself? What's driving your theory that we're going to break out?
Yeah, there's actually a couple things. And again, I'm going to go in more depth on this in Saturday's video over on my channel. So if you guys want to go watch that on Saturday, probably 11 a.m. is going to be coming out. There's a lot of things. The 4-year cycle in and of itself is a theory that is not even actualized. It's really based off of the market movements starting between 2013 to 2017 and then 2017 to 2021. Well, the reality is the first time something happens, it's just a thing that happens. The second time something happens, you're starting to build a pattern of coincidence, but there's no theory. But yet the 4-year cycle's only actually ever played out twice. And yet people are acting like it's this bona fide theory that's been around for forever, when in reality, we've only seen it happen twice. Then you go back to what is the 4-year cycle in a nutshell? It's tracking the significance of the halving events. I mean, every 4 years, Bitcoin has a halving event where the new supply being created on a daily basis gets slashed in half. And this causes a massive crash in supply, which of course has effect on price. And miners, they seem to know exactly in the past, when do I buy and keep my Bitcoin for maximum gain? And when is the right time to take profit? Because I know that halving event's coming up. Well, the significance of the halving event, I think at this point, is depleted. I mean, we have just a little over 1 million more tokens to print over the next 100 years. It's not going to be a significant difference. Last one I'll say, I'll leave it a little nutshell again. I'll go in more detail in my video. Institutions have never been in the game. Institutions just decided to start investing in crypto within the last year and some change. They will be the ones dictating how markets move, not the retail investor and the Bitcoin miner like in the past. We're nowhere close. I said the last thing. Last thing I'll also say, 2018 top and 2021 top. What coincided with both those? Yes, we were overpriced, but also economic uncertainty. Tariffs in 2018, and then the spiking inflation and therefore interest rate hikes from the Fed caused a large drop in not just crypto in a 4-year cycle, but the stock market as well. And this whole year of 2025 has been economic uncertainty, and yet Bitcoin's trending up. That to me tells me this time is different. The next time we will have a recession, the next time we'll have, a pullback, a massive bear market will be during another economic uncertainty, maybe a major recession. But in my eyes, what I'm seeing right now, I don't think we're anywhere even close to that. If we could survive this year with all the fear of tariffs and we're coming to the end of that and we're still hitting new all-time highs, I don't think we're anywhere close to the top. I think institutions are very hungry and they will use every excuse they can to get you as a retail investor to get out so they can buy the dips and make some money.
Let me play a clip for you. This is coming in from Mohamed. He talked a little bit about this as one of the analysts on CNBC. Talks about market reaction being muted since all of these Fed attacks have occurred. Listen to what he had to say, and I want to get your opinion. Let's take a look.
But what's really amazing is how muted the market reaction is. Every aspect of this, the what, the why, and the so what, is fascinating. The market reaction has been really muted, has surprised lots of people. In explaining it, you have a whole range of opinion from it doesn't matter, this is not going to stick, to it does matter and we're going to get QE and yield curve control. So you have people all over the place.
Should the market reaction be different?
So I don't think so. I think right now there's a number of explanations why the market is muted. But Contessa, the one I like most is that the market has gotten comfortable with the notion that the sovereign may be messy, but the corporates are fine. And that's why NVIDIA gets a lot more attention than the Fed. So we have decoupled the sovereign, tariffs, Fed independence, fiscal. We've decoupled all that from let's focus on the corporates. There's really exciting things going on, and they can result in productivity enhancements that fundamentally change the economy. That's what the market mindset is right now, and you need a big shock to stop this decoupling.
When you look at that, Tim, and you compare what is happening with Bitcoin right now, this trader is saying 117 coming in as a Bitcoin price reclaiming a little bit of a key trend line right now as we're actually recording this. What are you showing in terms of Bitcoin, at least in the short term, and then let's go end of year?
Yeah, very good question. I mean, first of all, let's start off with the FOMC. I haven't been on your show since it happened. Were you as surprised as I was at that dovish Jerome Powell? I went into it fully expecting at Jackson Hole. Sorry, I said FOMC. It's the Jackson Hole event. I went in fully expecting him to stay neutral and lean bearish. I mean, the previous day, one of the other members of the Fed, Hammock, I believe, was saying there's no signs that we should be cutting rate anytime soon. I was expecting him to come on echo that, and then he comes out and he didn't promise rate cuts, but he used expressions like it's time to pivot our strategy.
Yeah.
And it was very shocking. And the reality is I'm not surprised by the pullback in prices because honestly, as we're going to look on this chart here, I still am a big believer, as I've said on this channel several times, that these markets are so heavily manipulated by who? By the big boys, by the institutions and the whales. And if you get shocking news like that, I think they were just as surprised as us retail investors, and we bought in and sent us to new all-time highs. They didn't get a piece of the pie. They didn't get as much as they wanted, so they bring the charts back, and I think there's a chance the bottom's in. I think there's a chance we have a little lower to go. If I can share my screen here, my mouse was malfunctioning there, but let's take a look at what Bitcoin is looking at right now, and I'll start with the potential bad, right? I have an opinion that we're very, very bullish, but I never ignore things on the charts. I think I've said this before. On the weekly chart, there is still a cautionary sign that I'm paying attention to that popped up here back around July 28th or so. And that was we had a red reversal come into play in May, but these take a long time to play out. Then we had bearish divergence, and bearish divergence has been a very good tool recently. For example, we had this happen back in December and January, and that was a big reason why we topped out. Weekly bearish divergence itself is a problem, but then when you have that red reversal, a bearish momentum gray dot, and negative money flow, this is something that has plagued Bitcoin this entire bull run so far. I have yet to see the weekly chart be ignored, and the places it wants to pull back, if you pull up signals and overlays from Luxalgo, it's the weekly smart trail. This happened back here in January. This happened back here in the sell signal back in April of 2024. This happened back here in the sell signal of July of 2023. We have that same signal once again that technically has targets around the world of 97,000, potentially as low as 91, but 97,000 would be the top of it. The question becomes, are we going to repeat and follow the sell signal the same way we've seen it in this cycle previously, or do we potentially get some sort of a fake out like we got during early altcoin season back, if you were to go back towards January of 2021 during the raging portion of the bull market, I think also back here in August of 2020 as Bitcoin started a big explosive run. These both were weekly sell signals as well that did not come back down to the weekly smart trail. They stopped short and then exploded to new highs. That's the question. Are we so bullish that we're repeating that similar altcoin season period of 2021? Or are we going to see another slow, methodical pullback like we saw back in quarter one of 25 and the summer of 24? That's the question. On the good front, we have sufficed some things that I was calling for on our channel, where we also had a daily sell signal. I told people, hey, don't be surprised if we come back down here towards 111, maybe as low as somewhere here towards 107.5. We've hit that level. We've hit those numbers, and we're seeing a little sustained bounce back. Even today, we've come in here with a bullish buy signal on the 4-hour chart, the exact opposite of what I just showed on the weekly, that green reversal, bullish momentum, and positive money flow. So I'm not surprised right now at this rally. We do have some resistance coming in the world of 113 to 114. Can we break it? Can we make a move to the upside? Then all of a sudden that 117 is absolutely possible. But I'll show you one last thing I've been tracking here as well. And I have a buy signal a little bit lower than even where we went. I did buy the dip here at 110. So I got a DCA in again, but there's another one I have down at the $107,000 mark. And it's because of this new indicator that our community actually found. I didn't even find this. People in our trading group found it. It's called Spaceman Bitcoin Key Level. You guys can look it up in the indicators package if you have TradingView. It goes and shows you very key levels from the past, like previous week high, monthly opens, previous week low. What I'm watching right now, there's a lot of different crossover of support coming in down here at the quarterly open at 107,240. Okay, 107,240, you have order blocks, you have high levels of liquidity down here, liquidation levels. There's a lot of different signs that 107, around 107.2 would be a very advantageous buy spot for whales who are being patient. So therefore, I put a buy signal in at that level. Am I going to get it triggered? I don't know. There's a chance not, but I'm kind of holding out and saying, you know what? chaos happens. We don't really have any news sparking us right now to rip back up to new highs. So I'm going to keep that buy signal there. But I like the article you brought up. I think if we can reclaim 117, we're kind of breaking bearish structure that would probably send us back into a new rally on Bitcoin.
What about September? Are you bullish or bearish right now?
Yeah, I'm bullish. I actually told our community earlier in August, I thought that August would start with a little bit of a boom. Then I thought we'd have a correction where we get down towards that 110 mark. Again, we went a little bit lower. But I said I thought that we would actually end August resuming the rally. We have how many days left? About 4 days left. Am I going to be a little off? Is it going to take into the early days of September to happen? I don't know. But my thesis at the beginning of this month was, hey, watch for a rally to begin the month, a correction, and then a boom going into September. I'll show one more thing. Another thing to be aware of in September is I do think there will be another local top at the end of September, and that's going to be due to, if I go and share my screen again, another indicator we're using, the M2 money supply. Let me bring this up. This is actually global M2 money supply, so it's not just the US dollar, but this is an indicator we've been tracking, and Bitcoin's kind of straying a little further away from it than it has more recently. It's by no means perfect, doesn't follow it exactly, but it's pretty similar. You can see the similarities between Bitcoin's price action and these blue lines. And these blue lines signal that we should continue this run, this current momentum move into the end of September. Then we should probably see about a month correction. I wouldn't be surprised if October is actually a red month, a bearish month, before continuing on after that. Again, that's going to coincide kind of nicely with the 4-year cycle theory as well. I'm going to kind of give it a rest here and go off of this, but my theory at this point is not completely debunked. I think we're kind of riding it. We're a little lower than I thought we would get, but it's playing out well. My anticipation is we either close the month of August bullish or we start September bullish. And I think another catalyst to be aware of, and I can't remember which one is which, so forgive me, do your research on this one, but the 5th and the 11th of September, two very important dates, as rate cuts are going to be a major storyline about the next couple of months of price action. We get the next and the last levels of unemployment and inflation data before the Fed has their meeting in the middle of September. Crucial days. We're not going to wait. If you think you're waiting till the FOMC day to get a rally with rate cuts, no. It's those data points will tell market makers, hey, people are going to buy or people want to sell, do this with the price. So stay aware of those dates because there's going to be some volatility. It'll tell you the future of price action as well.
NVIDIA earnings are happening today. The interesting point right here is the option market currently pricing in about a 6.1% post-earning implied move with NVIDIA, meaning that we're probably going to see some uptrend here. The reason that this is so important is because it has a lot of narrative into Ethereum, which we're going to chart next. But before we go there, I want to play a clip for you. This is Tom Lee talking about why NVIDIA and why it is the most important company right now and how it plays into crypto. Take a look.
I mean, I know investors are really anxious and NVIDIA has not performed well the last few times it's reported. But the story arc there remains that that is one of the most important companies in the world in the middle of the biggest structural change in the world economy. So I think NVIDIA still is a great story. It really wouldn't change our thesis if the stock reacted poorly.
It's still your favorite trade.
I think it's the most important trade. Yeah,
I know it's the most important. I feel like that's legit. But is it?
I think there's a bigger upside in the owning financials right now. Because financials are benefiting from AI.
Okay.
So they're the second order beneficiaries. Plus they're getting the green light to build on the blockchain, which could really make JP Morgan and Goldman's business models so much more profitable.
All right. So, I mean, Tom really wanted to just say my favorite trade is ETH. We put out a tweet right here because he was referencing Mark Newton. And Mark Newton, one of the analysts that Tom kind of talks about, and they hit it. I mean, well, at least if you look at the most recent, they were able to say a couple, at least on this most recent local bottom, around 4,300, and then they think that this is going to be moving back above 5K. So that's the real question is, are we set for 5K? How quickly? Lee is saying it could happen within the next couple of weeks. So what is your theory right now on Ethereum?
I mean, Ethereum, just like Bitcoin or any altcoin we could track right now, it's kind of in that limbo. We just had a great run. A lot of coins, lot of coins didn't hit new all-time highs like ETH did, but they maybe hit new cycle highs or price levels we hadn't seen since earlier this year. So altcoins have had a nice little spike. People took some profit. Like I said earlier, this concept of we got some, again, I think surprising news from Jerome Powell. The retail bought quickly while they could. We saw that spike up happen live. I think this whole pullback that happened was one of those, hey, when retail misses the boat, that sucks. You just missed the boat. When whales miss the boat, and now these whales are the institutional players, the guys that manipulate and control markets, when they miss the boat, they always find a reason and a way to bring the boats back so that they can get their fill. That's a big reason why a lot of prices kind of came back down to where they were when Jerome Powell was speaking live and didn't go a whole lot lower than that. With ETH, I actually think 5,000 is going to be a number, a nice clean round number that people want to see it get to say, oh, new all-time highs, even though we got it by getting over 4,900. I would say don't just think about 5,000. Once you clear 5,000, start looking at 6,000. One of the reasons why is because we just kind of broke out of a nice bull flag pattern, an explosive move here between the dates of August 3rd to this top. Not the all-time high, but the top here around August 14th. We had this big explosive move, a nice correction within a channel. That's a bull flag pattern. And yes, we pulled back down here more recently, but we have targets up here closer towards 6,000. Technically, it's just below 5,900. But it's just not uncommon at all to see this kind of thing happen. Let's go to the 4-hour chart to kind of see it more played out here. To watch the price action break a resistance level, come up, and then come back down and kind of touch some former resistance levels. In this case, you're going to see that resistance level is kind of just in line with the last lower high before new highs were created on ETH. So I think we had a nice support touch right there. Just like Bitcoin, you have a nice 4-hour buy signal here, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. We have a target right here. Is this one that actually, no, it didn't break above yet. I think we need to get above 4,800, and then all of a sudden you're talking about ripping back to the upside for ETH. And that signal, again, everyone's going to keep their eyes around 5,000. I'm not saying no one will take profits there, but I won't be surprised after we kind of poked through a new all-time high and then quickly got rejected and came back down. This almost seems like one of those situations where we've been testing that former high. We've been rejected. We test. We get a higher low. The next test, when we break through, all of a sudden, you don't just get a breakthrough and then hover right above. You break through and you explode because the sellers will be exhausted that have been kind of defending the former all-time high.
Other things that are happening, you put out this tweet, but this was big news, and of course they're talking about this in terms of GDP data going on blockchain. And this was something that is interesting because I feel like there's several blockchains that probably will benefit from this. One I know will be Chainlink. If you look at Chainlink right now, is this a token where you can still make a run? I mean, I know you're very bullish on Chainlink. How would you suggest someone invest in Chainlink today if somebody said, I'm interested?
Yeah, buy. I mean, that's the best thing I can tell you is buy. There's definitely key levels to keep an eye on. When I say risky, I'm almost saying risky in the sense of we might not get that back down that low, but if you can get a hold of it down there, that would be awesome. I think if you're sitting here and you're realizing you're extremely low on Chainlink and you're kind of coming around to this, the concept that Chainlink is going to be one of the most important cryptocurrencies in the future, start off by getting access to some now. Just even right now around 24.48 is where we're looking at. I'll go ahead and share my chart here. Yeah. I'd nibble at some here right now. Right, this is a coin that is trending absolutely in the right direction, especially since back here in June. Around the 22nd, we are just ripping to the upside. We've been as high up here towards 27. I've told people on the weekly chart, we're kind of flirting with that weekly smart trail, but my assumption was always that we were going to get up to it, kind of flirt with it, have a little bit of consolidation, and then break through and start to head up towards that $30, $40, $50 mark. I told my community the other day, my trading group, I said, don't be surprised if the way this actually ends up working is we get rate cuts, and then by the end of September, or maybe sometime mid-October when we top out, I would not be surprised to see Chainlink shooting up towards $50 to $60. Then we get that local top I talked about when, 4-year cyclist will start to sell, people looking at the M2 money supply will start to sell, and we see a 50% correction on Chainlink, and we come back down towards $30 or pretty much the former cycle high set back in December of 24. That's going to be my assumption, then it takes off. So I would absolutely nibble some now, and then I wouldn't be surprised. Take some profits. You start to get a little bit of unrest about the markets. Look for a correction back down towards 31. That's my plan. I'm going to sell up top here, buy back in around 31. Not everything. I'm going to leave a little bit to go on just in case I'm wrong, but that's my plan. As far as some levels to keep an eye on, should we go lower? Let me make sure, let's get this right. We did officially have a daily sell signal, a red reversal, bearish momentum, and we've had some negative money flow here since back here on August 13th. Now, my problem with this, if you go back and look at that, you say, actually, Tim, we had a sell signal back here on August 15th officially. And what did Chainlink do? It kind of ignored all of that stuff and went on to a new high on this trend. So there's no guarantee we get all the way down here towards this smart trail, but $22 to $21 is going to be kind of interesting. Even $20, you're going to see a previous month high, a yearly open price level. You didn't really get a shot after this area was used as resistance back in July. We never kind of regrouped after breaking through to retest it. So $22, $21, and $20, very interesting spots here for Link. I think there's also a major breaker block, which means a former level resistance that was smashed. And then again, it's just that concept of, hey, we couldn't sell here, so this is the next spot. If the whales are really hungry and desperate, do they try to make some sort of play of manipulation to bring it all the way back here so they can get their fill and then move to the upside? That's where I have some buy signals in. But at the same time, what we're watching in the markets right now, I don't think there's any guarantee. The momentum is just going up, up, up and away. We're ignoring bearish signals. We're ignoring bearish divergences, sell signals. Why? Because people are waking up and realizing, I missed out on Chainlink. I got to get some now. And when you have more people buying than selling, what does the price do? It goes up.
If you compare Avalanche and Solana right now, the two charts, because Solana's been retraced a little bit over the last couple of days, how would you play this out right now? If let's just say we had a $10,000 portfolio or a $1,000 portfolio, and I only wanted one of those tokens, how would you play that right now, Tim?
Yeah, see, these are the trap questions, Paul. You do this to me from time to time. You can invest in both, everybody. You can buy both.
But we want one.
But for the sake of the game, I got to choose one. I got to choose one. I've been on here before. I'm very adamant. I almost always, I'm not going to say always, but I almost always will give the benefit of the doubt to the coin that has a smaller market cap. It's just going to be a lot easier to get a better ROI when the market cap is smaller. It's easier to make gains. But there's another thing about AVAX. I think I'm leaning towards AVAX. And the reason why is because AVAX is not getting the same explosion right this second that Solana is. So this is the AVAX chart right here. Of course, Solana, people are talking about it today. Solana, is it going up here? It's back above 200, hit 209 here today.
209.
But anyone who's a chart guy might even already see where I'm going with this here in just a second as to why I'm going to choose AVAX over Solana. Even though Solana is getting a nice run here, look at the chart that I have drawn here. Look at this red line and this green line. We have an uptrend level of support. We've touched it several times, and an uptrending level of resistance, right? But it's constricting. This is what we call a rising wedge pattern. And for Solana holders, myself included, I really hope we break this red line and go to the upside, right? That does happen. But in the world of technical analysis, and all I can tell you is what the charts are saying, if a TradFi guy who knows nothing about Solana stumbles onto this chart and says, let's make a trade, what is he doing? He's going to short. He's going to short because these charts, more often than not, break to the downside. In fact, the target that some people will use and tell you, hey, keep an eye on, would be a Solana breakout all the way back down to 129. Now, I'm not predicting that to happen. That's way too low for me. But I just wouldn't be surprised to see Solana slow down, break below the green line, and just drop a little bit lower. I think some levels I'd be keeping an eye on for a Solana regroup. We just now are putting a daily smart trail back to the downside down here in the world of a 170, 160, give or take. If I were to look at some other things, we have an order block down here towards 153. If I were to pull out that new indicator I was just showing you guys, the Spaceman, some key things to keep an eye on. There's a little pocket right here on 170, and then there's another one down here at 150. That would not crush Solana long-term in the bull market if we pulled back down towards those levels due to the fact that we're sitting in what a lot of technical analysts will view as a bearish indicator. AVAX, on the other hand, is probably days, if not weeks away from major breakout. I was here on this channel. We talked about this W pattern. We came up, we tested resistance. I said, hey, can we blast through? If so, the target's going to put us all the way up to 47. Then if we can break above this former level resistance, all of a sudden AVAX is shooting up towards 150, right? There's a lot of ifs there, but this is a very bullish looking chart. We did reject on the resistance level, okay? We did, but guess what we did after that? We came up here, and after coming all the way down to 1560, we came up, rejected, came up to a higher low of 20, rejected again, came down to 22. We are putting in higher lows as we're rejecting. This is a resistance level that is bound to break and shoot AVAX to the upside. When that dam breaks, when the bulls are released, again, first target, 47. Back up to resistance.
I like it.
Once that breaks, we got a long way to the upside to go.
Yeah, that's a bullish position, you know, at least on Avalanche in general. One thing to consider around Solana is, you know, and this is something I think that everybody's been talking about, is try to get events happening here in the United States to kind of bring in the crypto investors to reality of what's going on. This is the All In Summit, which is the All In podcast. Everybody knows it. It's, you know, Calacanis and Chamath and David Sachs and Freeberg. Point being is that David Sachs very tied to, and in fact, this whole group is very tied to Solana in general. And then, of course, Solana comes in, and guess what? They are now the #1 sponsor of this event. So watch out for early September. That event could be very telling in the sense of where, because anytime it's almost like a break point. You know, if you get a break point, something gets announced, some major opportunity. And I think Solana's been in a position where they're trying to get back into the favor of American investors. Maybe this is the route they take. We'll see.
I will say one warning sign. If they say something that shocks us, some sort of new innovation, some sort of new partnership that no one was prepared for, yes, we could rip to the upside. But Paul, you and I, we've both been here for multiple years. Conferences have a tendency to sometimes be top signals. Why? Because ultimately, what do we get tops? If whales have made money, how do whales take profit? If you own a massive amount of coins and you just dump all your coins to take profit at once, by the time that last token sells, you're back down and you really didn't get as much profit as you wanted. The better solution is, let's get suckers to buy the top. Let's get people who know nothing about the space to get really motivated and excited and buy the top, so they have all the sell signals to take out, or that they have all the buy signals to give me all of my sell signals, and then the price can come back down. I'm always weary of conferences that are really backed by or supporting one coin as I'm key word here, local top. I'm not saying the top of Solana. I'm not saying the bull market's over for it and 200 was the top. I'm saying local top to do what I kind of just showed, where it gets up there around 210, 220. People get really excited. They buy the top. Whales sell because they know I can get back in around 170 or 150 and stack my bag with more Solana tokens before it goes to 500, 800, 1,000 later on in the bull market.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, the key here is that you're blending crypto with traditional tech markets. And we've seen that kind of with CES. We've kind of seen it in the gaming sector, but we've never really seen it in the business sector. Crypto and business, and because that's really what the All In Summit's about. It's more business and tech related. Hey Tim, it's good seeing you. Thanks for coming in. I know you've been in and out with the new baby, so congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
It's always great to have more fathers in the world. We need that. So anyway, you guys make sure and check out Tim's channel, Tim Warren, over on YouTube. We'll catch you next week, okay?
All right, sounds good, Paul. See you then.
See ya. All right, you guys, if you're not part of the Diamond Circle, get in right now. We have a brand new website that launched today. So when you visit paulbaronnetwork.com, you're going to be able to actually participate in the whole new platform. We're going to show it to you throughout the week. A lot of new features, a lot of new updates within it. You guys are going to love it. Make sure and just click the link down below. It's absolutely free to get involved, so do that. Follow me on X, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.